everyone. Welcome back to Champion the Passion, a weekly pressing podcast where we inspire you to champion your passions and celebrate the joy in what you love. I'm your host. My name is Victoria Daisy, and today is another bonus episode where we will be previewing everything happening tomorrow at WWE Evolution. Today is All in Texas, and if you want to see my bonus preview episode for that was yesterday, so you can go check out that. It's the episode before this one, but today we're talking all WWE Evolution. The show is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, streaming exclusively on Peacock. But before I dive deeper, don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. But let's dive right into the matches. I am so unbelievably excited. I feel like we have a fantastic lineup. We have 7 matches, I believe, and I cannot wait to talk about them all. So let's dive right in with the first match that was announced for this show, and that was a Women's World Championship match. Io Sky defending against Rhea Ripley. Now this is going to be something interesting. I feel very 50-50 about this, to be quite honest with you. You know, Rhea has been on this journey to try and beat Io Sky. They have been on this storyline for years now of where Io is just undefeated against Rhea. We know that Rhea lost her title earlier this year to Io, and that was obviously very devastating for any Rhea Ripley fan like myself. But I, am struggling between back and forth because I feel like in my gut, Io is going to retain, but then also what other better way to win than at Evolution, especially with the fact that Rhea has never beat Io. And I think doing it at, the second ever all women's PLE would be absolutely insane. Now, of course, you guys know I love Rhea, so I'm going to predict that Rhea does take this W and does win back her Women's World Championship. But I know there are some other, fun storylines that we could get if Io does retain. I know a lot of people have thrown around her and Asuka going at it again, and so many other dream opponents for Io. But the tricky thing too is that Rhea doesn't need a title to be the top star. She's always just going to be the top star. So that's why it's cool to let other women have it and she could still be at top. But I also don't care and I want her to be on top because mommy is always on top. Am I right? But I'm just going to say that Rhea Ripley is going to win this one. That is by a landslide though, because I'm so torn. I'm so 50-50 on this one. And it pains me because I really do feel like Io is going to retain, but I really want Rhea to win. And I think this is the first time that I'm ever going to predict by my heart and not by my mind. Because you guys always know I always pick with what my gut tells me, with what my brain tells me, but I never emotionally pick. But this one, I'm going to let that slide today because I want Rhea to win. So, I'm going to predict she's going to win. We're going to change the rules just for today. All right, next, let's talk about the Evolution Battle Royal. This is something they did in the first ever Evolution, and now they are bringing it back. This is a great way to showcase so many females who don't have their own individual matches. So we already have 6 women from NXT who have been announced. So we have Jada Parker, Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dame, and Lash Legend. So those 6 women from NXT will be in the match alongside Nikki Bella and a few other women. I'm sure Stephanie Vaquer is going to be there. Maybe Julia, Zelina. I can't even think of anybody else, but I'm sure all those women were going to be in it. And obviously there's still more that we don't know. And I really do think because WWE is greedy and they are money hungry, I hate to say it, I'm so sorry, but it's just the truth. Obviously, if they didn't feel intimidated by AEW, they wouldn't have overbooked this weekend. They really, at the very most, could have done 1 show, but they decided to do 3, and it's showing and it's telling because the ticket sales are really telling. Anyways, so I have a feeling that they're going to whip out the big guns for this show in particular. And I would really love to see some legends return for this match. Maybe just some surprise returns or debuts. I don't really know. There's no one specifically in mind. Obviously, I would love Brie Bella, Paige. AJ Lee's never going to happen, but we also said that about CM Punk and then he came back. So that's just my delusion, but we'll see. And so I don't know, there's a lot of different opportunities with this Battle Royal, especially because we don't know everyone who's going to be in it. And I think that's the fun about Battle Royals. Similar to AEW's Women's Casino Gauntlet match later today at All In. I think that's something we'll see of we don't know who's going to fully be in it. So I think with this Evolution Battle Royal, they have a lot of room to do some fun stuff. I've heard some rumors that the Iconics, aka the Inspiration over at TNA, that they could cross over for this. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. Now, as far as who I predict to win it, once again, when we don't know who's going to be in it, it's really hard to tell. But I think Nikki Bella has probably the highest chance of winning. I know Stephanie Vaquer is another name that is also very high up on that list. And honestly, any of the NXT girls could probably have a really high chance. Maybe Lash Legend, Jada Parker, maybe even Lola Vice, but I don't think that's super high on the list. But I definitely do think that Nikki Bella is the favorite to win this. Now, whoever does win this battle royal will go on to Clash in Paris for a title opportunity. So I think that that's really interesting and something we should keep in mind too. We also don't know which champion that person would be facing. I would presume it would be either Io or Rhea, whoever ends up winning that match. So I think that's going to be very interesting, but obviously only time will tell to see what's going to end up happening. Next match, let's talk about Tiffany Stratton defending her WWE Women's Championship against Trish Stratus. This match is kind of giving pointless. Obviously, we know that they tagged during Money in the Bank Toronto, and so this just felt a little filler to me, unfortunately. I think it's a very easy win for Tiffany Stratton. There's no way in hell that Trish wins. I don't think that that's something that's going to even happen or even a possibility, to be quite honest with you. I think this is going to be an easy win for Tiffany. I think that, there will be some hardship in the match, maybe some tug and pull where, we might have some moments where we're like, oh shoot, maybe Trish can actually win this, but there's just no way she's going to win it. So I think this is an easy Tiffy time victory, which I'm very excited about. Next, we have a very interesting match, and this is interesting, and I'm curious to see what WWE does with this. So we have Jade Cargill versus Naomi, and what makes this interesting is we have Jade Cargill, who is the queen of the ring, versus Naomi, who is Miss Money in the Bank. So these are two people you don't want losing until their match, right? Until Jade has her match at SummerSlam against Tiffany, and until Naomi cashes in. These are two people you don't want to have losing, but obviously one of them is going to lose. And so I think that that's also something to take into account that's really interesting. And I'm really curious as to why they booked it. And I think storyline wise, I've said this for a while, I think Naomi is cashing in at SummerSlam. And let me elaborate. So I think wholeheartedly in this match, Jade Cargill is going to beat Naomi. I think Naomi's going to be very pissed about it. She's going to want to seek vengeance. And what she's going to do is she's going to go to New Jersey for SummerSlam and she's going to cash in. I think what's going to happen is Jade Cargill is going to beat Tiffany Stratton. But then we're going to have a Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest situation from WrestleMania 40 where Naomi's going to come out and cash in on Jade. And maybe that leads to a whole huge other feud for them down the line. I don't know exactly, but I think that's her way of seeking vengeance. I think that's what's going to make sense. Obviously, who else is she going to cash in on? She's not going to cash in on Io and Rhea. This makes sense. So I'm going to predict that Jade Cargill wins this match so that Naomi ends up, getting frustrated. And I think also too, you don't want Jade as the queen of the ring to lose, because then you're going to be like, oh, this is an easy victory for Tiffany at SummerSlam, when it really shouldn't be like that. Like, Jade should be a threat to Tiffany. And I think if she beats Naomi in this match, we'll absolutely get that. And it'll be a bigger build to SummerSlam, as opposed to if she lost, it's not going to feel as valuable. But I think Naomi is able to take the loss and still look strong because she has the secret weapon of the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I think that's something that she definitely will use to her advantage. And so that's kind of my thoughts on that match. I think it's a very interesting situation we have here, but I'm honestly really excited about it. And I kind of love that they did this because it kind of sets up everything very nicely for SummerSlam. And then Naomi will hopefully be our next WWE Women's Champion after Jade Cargill for about 2 minutes. So really excited for that. The next match we're going to talk about is probably going to be the main event match. And that is Becky Lynch defending her Women's Intercontinental Championship against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Now, here is something that's very interesting to me. They have really milked the life out of this storyline. I don't know if there's much left for this. I don't think I want to see much after this with the three of them. And there is something in me that says Lyra Valkyria wins back her title. I don't know what. I don't know why. It's a gut feeling, and I think I'm going to stick with it. Becky said something that was really interesting. She said, I feel like the only way that they think they can take me down is if they team up together and they take me out and they take the title from me. And obviously, that's not the case. It's every woman for herself. I don't think Bayley has any slight chance of winning. Becky, her retaining really just wouldn't do much for me. I think honestly, all of this is just to put up Lyra. And so that's why I think Lyra will win back her title. You know, Bailey and Becky don't have much to gain from this. They've already been there, done that. And so I think Lyra has everything to gain. And so I think her winning would make the most sense. And, you know, then you can think of the Women's Intercontinental Championship and associate it with Lyra Valkyria. You're not going to associate it with Bailey. You're not going to associate it with Becky Lynch. You're going to associate it with Lyra Valkyria. And I think that's what they're trying to get at here. And I really hope that's something that they do. I really hope Lyra can have that moment and really solidify herself as the greatest Women's Intercontinental Champion, at least for the next decade. I mean, I don't know who's going to come after her, but I would hope that it'd be something like monumental like that. So that's kind of where my brain is at. And I really hope that, you know, she is able to secure that victory, win back her title, and move on to bigger and better things. Maybe, I don't know if there would be a rematch at SummerSlam and then she wins it and then they kind of put that to rest and bury the hatchet with all of that. But I'm really curious to see what happens with that match. That's most likely going to be the main event. So I really hope that they over deliver with that one. All right, next, let's talk about JC Jane defending her NXT Women's Championship against Jordynne Grace. Now, I love how we have some NXT representation here in a singles match. I think this is going to be an absolute banger match, but I said it from the moment JC Jane won that title. She is a bridge champion. If you watch football, you know what a bridge quarterback is, and that is the same situation here. Now, something to keep in mind is that whoever wins this match will be facing Masha Slamovich, who is the TNA Knockouts champion at Slammiversary. I believe that's July 20th. So obviously Jordynne and Masha have a lot of history together, and her and JC have some history, not really much, but I think that Jordynne has lost way too many times to lose one more time, especially at an all-women's PLE like Evolution. I think this is an easy win for Jordynne Grace, and I think also, not to do some TNA predictions right here, but I definitely do think that she will also head to Slammiversary and walk in as the NXT Women's Champion and walk out the NXT Women's Champion and the TNA Knockouts champion. I think she's going to come out Jordan 2 belt. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for this match, but I think easily this W goes to Jordynne Grace. But let's talk about the last match on the card. We have a fatal 4-way tag team match where do you see my brain? Where Raquel and Roxanne will defend their women's tag team championships against a team from Raw, a team from NXT, and a team from SmackDown. So the Raw tag team that they will be defending against is the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. Then they will also be defending against the SmackDown tag team, which is Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And then the final tag team they will also be defending against is the NXT tag team of Sol Ruka and Zarya. So here's my thought process. This is a fun match concept with having them defend against different teams from different brands. And as much as I would love to see a title change here, I really don't think that that's going to happen until Liv comes back. Now, my other thought process here is that when Liv comes back, she's going straight for Nikki Bella and that none of this would even matter. So part of me thinks that a strong contender would be the Kabuki Warriors, but I would really love to see Asuka kind of do her own thing for a while. So I'm not too sure. My brain's a little bit scattered with this match. I'm not too sure where my predictions lie. I think it really is between Judgment Day and Kabuki Warriors. I don't think NXT is going to take home those titles, although I think that would be a huge surprise if they did, because I think Zarya and Sol Ruka, are probably the most solid tag team in all of WWE when it comes to the women. And so, crap, I don't know. I think Charlotte and Alexa were just kind of mushed together. I'm not a fan of it per se. It gives me nostalgia because I'm a 2000s kid, so I got to grow up with them. But that doesn't necessarily mean I want them to win the tag titles. I think to play it safe, I'm going to say that I keep wanting to say Liv. Oh my gosh, that Roxanne and Raquel will retain. Yeah, I think I'm going to say that to play it safe. Maybe they get some help from the boys, Finn, JD, Dom. I almost said Carlito. Man's not there. But maybe they'll get some help from there. I just don't feel comfortable predicting that like literally anyone else is going to win this. I think by having the title change with the Women's World Championship and the Intercontinental Championship, I think having Tiffany and Roxanne and Raquel retain would be a good balance for it all. But I'm really intrigued to see how Evolution goes. Again, it's tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, if my time conversion is correct, streaming exclusively on Peacock for US residents and on Netflix worldwide. It's going to be an absolutely phenomenal show. I'm so excited that they finally, after 7 years, brought back an all women's PLE, and hopefully, just hopefully, this could be a annual thing. I think the women definitely deserve to have one show a year just to themselves, and I really think that that would be amazing. I also am holding out hope, like I said earlier, that we'll get some surprise returns and even maybe debuts or NXT call-ups or something of that nature. I think that that would be so fun. And honestly, again, with them trying to juggle, they're trying to outweigh AEW this weekend. That's just the reality. I think they are going to pull out the big guns, especially for Evolution and for Saturday night's main event, also tonight. So we'll see what happens. I'm really intrigued, but let me know all your thoughts and your opinions. Also, I wanted to remind you guys that on my social platforms, I will be posting reaction videos to AEW All In, hopefully Saturday night's main event if everything is on time, and then definitely Evolution as well. So make sure you are staying. As of right now, I won't be posting them on TikTok just because I don't want to get banned and I got a few flags. So we're just going to keep that content to Instagram and my X account. All of that is in the description if you want to go check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this episode of Champion the Passion. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. Don't forget to champion your passions and celebrate the joy in what you love. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.